Let's go to question number 2.
Shoot. Jocko, what if I don't have time to explain the why to my troops for a decision I'm making during an operation? U.S. Army First Lieutenant.
So, awesome. Thanks for your service, U.S. Army First Lieutenant. Get some. And I talk about troops and people in general never wanting a plan to be imposed upon them. And so that's what this question is kind of based around, because I'm saying, look, you don't want to just force people to do some plan. You want to say, hey, what do you think you should do? And hey, here's what we're doing, and here's why we're doing it. This is why it's important. And that gets people to take ownership of it, and therefore they do a better job. So he must have heard me say that. And now he's saying, look, sometimes I ain't got time to be explaining the why when we're getting this going on. And that's why this idea of explaining the why is true 99% of the time in an administrative situation, in a situation where things are under control and we've got time to think about what's happening. That's when you can go and say, hey, what's your, what do you think? How do you think we should do this? This is why I want to accomplish this. This is the commander's intent. You can do all that stuff. And that makes sense, again, in a administrative situation. When there's chaos and when there's mayhem and when there's uncertainty, actually the opposite is true. You actually want your troops to they want to see and hear clear directives from you. They want to know what they should do in no uncertain terms. And you can think of situations where if you've seen, let's say, a car accident, right? And you see people that are kind of frazzled. If someone steps up into that situation, no one's doing anything that they're supposed to be doing. If someone steps up and says, you too, start dragging that person over there. You go call 911. They actually teach that. When you're learning about how to handle traumatic situations, somebody needs to step up, step back, take charge of the situation. Everybody wants that to happen. And that's true in a combat scenario. Again, this is different from when we're in the rear and we're formulating a plan and we're safely going over whatever ideas we have, and that's when you want to get input and feedback, and you let your subordinate leadership come up with a plan. That's all good. But that's not true during a pressure situation when there's a critical scenario unfolding. People want to be led. Now, when you lead them in those situations, you can still give orders by commander's intent. You can still just give intent. So an example of that, and I actually wrote my example down. You can say, like, Delta 1-6, we need high ground on the other side of that road. Make it happen. So then the Delta 1-6 commander goes, oh, okay, I need high ground on the other side of the road. There's a good building. Looks like that's the one we could take. Hey, squad, come with me. And they go over and take down the building. I gave them still gave them commander's intent. I gave them very clear commander's intent. I didn't really tell them why. I didn't say, hey, what do you think would be best? Do you think it's a good idea to get high ground? No. I said, go get high ground on the other side of the street. That's what I told them to do. So I'm going to let them figure it out. They understand what the intent is. You could say something a little bit more specific. You could give them an actual directive. You could say, Charlie 1-6, take 2 squads, assault building 34 on the other side of the road, get high ground on the rooftop, go. Now we have something that's more specific. Again, it's not commander's intent. It's directly, I'm telling you what to do. And a lot of times people are going to want that. They're going to want to hear exactly what to do in these pressure situations. So depending on the level of experience that your subordinate leadership has, depends on maybe how specific you're going to get with just giving commander's intent versus giving something very specific to do. Both of those are the right answers. If you have a really good leader underneath you and you can just give them the intent and you can let them come up with a plan, cool, go with that. If you got somebody that needs a little more guidance, give them a little bit more specific guidance. Now, obviously, one part of that is you got to have trust. You got to have trust with the subordinate leadership that you're working with, whether that's you working with your whole platoon and you just got to trust your squad leaders and your fire team leaders, but you got to build that trust through training and through hard training, through coaching them and mentoring. And again, I hate using the word coaching and mentoring because that always gives an air of superiority, and I'm not going to want to come across as superior to other people. Why do I not want to come off as superior to other people? Well, number one, because it unifies our team more. And number two, because I'm not superior to other people. right? I'm another person. And my subordinates, even though they might not have as much time and rank or experience as me, they still might have great ideas. And I respect that. So this isn't a, hey, I don't want to use coach or mentor because I'm manipulating them. And I want to make sure that they listen to me because I'm being a certain way with them. No, I legitimately respect what they're saying.
Yeah.
That's the difference here. So, but my goal is to build trust. And the other way that you build trust, and I've said this before, is by giving trust. You know, hey, I trust that you can do this. Hey, Echo, you going to go take down the building? I trust your plan. Come up with it and make it happen. Boom. You could do it. You trust me more. When I trust you, you trust me, and that's what we want to do. Mm-hmm. Now, when the operation is over, and now you're in a post-operational debrief, then you can discuss why you gave a certain order, or you can get feedback from them on why they executed a certain way, and you can get the questions going back and forth. And through that little question and answer period that takes place during a post-operational debrief, we get to know each other more, we build more trust, and we become better as a team.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the way it works. You don't always have time to explain why. Pressure situations, you lead.
Yeah. Yeah, that trust thing is big.
Indeed.
I think